Welcome to Promo Insiders, the ASI Media podcast that covers the issues that matter most to the promotional products industry, from hard-hitting news to fun trends and analysis. I'm Teresa Hegel, Executive Editor of Digital Content, and today I'm joined by my colleague Christopher Ruvo, the Digital News Director. And today we are going to talk about just some fun branded merch things that we've seen either in our reporting or just around the web. And we're going to kind of discuss what they're all about and maybe how they kind of relate back to things that other decorators and distributors and suppliers and everybody in the industry can do. So without further ado, hi, Chris.
Hey, Teresa.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm pretty peachy. How are you?
I'm great.
All right.
So first thing we were going to talk about is the adult Happy Meals that McDonald's has put out. So this is a pretty recent thing. They basically partnered with a popular streetwear brand, Cactus Plant Flea Market. They're so popular. I've never heard of them, but no, I mean, I think that among the
We're
streetwear,
old though, so it doesn't
yeah,
count, you know?
yeah, exactly. But I think it's a pretty clever idea. So basically, they have the idea is that adults, you never knew when your last Happy Meal was going to be. It's like this play on nostalgia. So now, as an adult, you can get this limited edition Happy Meal that has 4 different figurines, sort of based. Most of them are based on, classic things like the Hamburglar and Grimace back from when they had them when you were a kid, right? Is that from your era?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, like that, it's definitely playing on that nostalgia and that, FOMO of because it's limited edition. It's sort of like nostalgia with a twist because obviously the Hamburglar did not have 4 eyes, when we when we would get him
Right.
as children. But it's apparently it's very, very popular. And I actually read a story today that um, McDonald's workers are actually asking people not to order these because it's like messing with I don't know, they're too busy or it's just
Oh
going
wow.
crazy. Yeah.
Hey, too
So
bad if I go, I'm getting one.
I think it might be one of those things that you have to order from their app. You can't just
Oh,
do.
okay.
Yeah. They
Duly
really
noted.
that's a lot of these seem to push the some kind of new product or service that they're offering. So if you want this special limited edition thing, it has to go through the app.
Well, isn't that genius in a way though? Because it's like this full-on very 2022 thing of ordering, your fast food through an app in advance, but you're using, nostalgia, millennial Gen X nostalgia to kind of drive that. So
Mhm.
that's fun. It is super creative, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great idea. And yeah, you're pushing this new idea, but with, old school promo of old school things. So it gets the best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I want one. Do
I
you
know.
happen to know, do they still do the Halloween buckets at McDonald's? Do you remember those?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Was that like so you could take your trick or treating in them?
I think they gave out buck. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Like I said, I'm old, but I seem to remember getting a Halloween bucket from McDonald's of some variety. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds plausible. I just don't know anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go to the next one. This is one that
Yeah.
you picked out.
Yeah, so I wrote about this one for this was actually the winner of our best distributor client promotion in our 2022 promo campaign awards. And the project was done by Trisha Thompson, who's with the Image Source based out of Kirkland, Washington. And her client on this was this Australian-based wine company, Treasury Wine Estates, and they had a particular brand, the Matua, that's Matua brand, that they really wanted to, I guess, get a lot of traction for in the United States. They felt that this brand could really appeal to the young, the hip, the crowd, kind of be the wine for that demographic, right? But they knew they really needed to hit the market hard because it's a crowded landscape to compete in. So what Trisha and Matua teamed up to do was this whole really cool experiential marketing event that involved tons of branded merchandise. Basically, what they did is they went to Las Vegas. They had this pool party. It was one of the first kind of like major like events such as this following like COVID shutdowns. This all occurred in 2021. And Trisha came up with all these custom products, all Matua branded, that they used throughout this pool party event, to which influencers and young hip people were kind of invited to. So she delivered products like custom patio umbrellas, floor decals, laminated table tents. There were pillows and menu cards. There were these large step and repeat Euro walls that people could use to take selfies and photographs with. There was sampling cups to try the wine, of course, and they had Matua branding. Guests and staff got trucker hats and fanny packs and things like that. And when people who were invited to the pool party went to their rooms, in their rooms they got these welcome kits that also had Matua branded products like magnets and information on the event and badges, lanyards, et cetera, et cetera. There was stickers in there in the rooms as well. So basically, they created this cool event and then pumped it full of custom, literally built from scratch products. They had it built from scratch because the particular brand color for Matua was a very particular type of blue that you couldn't just get in stock. So they had to custom build this. So all this creativity and fun kind of went into it. And you say, well, how did that benefit the brand? Well, in a huge way. Basically, they ended up getting covered. The party was covered along with pictures of like the merch and everything in Rolling Stone's online magazine. Rolling Stone Online has like 10 million subscribers or something like that. They got over 1.8 million impressions on Instagram. And the event did help catalyze sales of Matua in the United States. Ultimately, they saw a double-digit sales growth in 2021. That's double-digit sales growth of the Matua wine in the U.S. So a highly successful campaign and a very creative one to boot.
Yeah, and I mean, you can just look at like some of the pictures, and if you are listening to us and not like watching the video, you can go to ASI Central and see them. But it's just like they created like a whole environment. It's like you're immersed in the world of the Matua wine. Like it's there's so much different stuff with branding. So basically, anytime you're taking a photo, you're going to be getting that logo somewhere. But it doesn't look obnoxious. I don't think it looks cool. It looks like the place you would want to be.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's not a mystery that young attractive people having fun is kind of a draw in advertising. And they were smart about, like, they knew the demographic they were going for. They got people who kind of represented the ideal version, if you will, of that demographic, and they got them to have fun at a really posh, cool setting in Las Vegas, poolside. Like, who wouldn't want to go to that party, right? So
Yeah.
they just did it all right. And when you're putting yourself out there in that way, the merch can't be shoddy or second rate or have like this was done quickly without much thought. Like, it had to look like fashionable. It had to look like, where it says Matua, you want to, if you replaced it with Armani or something, maybe it's a little much. It shouldn't
Yeah.
look out of place, right? And it and
Right.
it and it didn't, given the kind of merch that they had.
Right. It has to be things that people want, things that people are going to want to take home with them. It has to have that covetable, like, oh, I wish I were there. I wish I got that thing.
Yeah.
Um, for sure. All right. And so the next thing that we have is Starburst created this biometric safe for what they're calling like unshareable packs of all pink Starbursts, because I guess
Nice.
the pink flavor is the one that everyone wants. Actually, I think pink is my favorite Starburst
Is
flavor.
it?
I mean, strawberry, I guess is what it is.
Okay.
What's your favorite?
Yeah, I haven't had it in so long. I don't know. They had watermelon at one point, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess would that be a green Starburst? I don't.
It
They're always
probably.
changing the flavors, but I think the
Yeah.
pink is considered like the premium one. Everyone loves the pink Starburst.
All right, got it.
So basically, what they did was create this biometric safe that only you are able to open, and that held the packs of Starburst in them. I think it was one of those things where maybe there's like a limited edition. You could like you could sign up for it and win a prize to get this safe. Um, but it was sort of like all kind of centered around this idea of self-care, because I think there must be some kind of like social media saying where it's like, don't worry, you're a pink starburst, you're a pink starburst, where you're kind of like building yourself up. So they were playing off of that. So it's the idea of like self-care and like kind of me time and just like not having to share your pink starburst. So you
I
actually
hope
have it
there's T-shirts
safe.
that say that too, that I am a pink starburst. If not, someone should get on that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And of course, once you've eaten all the Starburst, you can use this, branded safe for whatever you want to store in it. But I think it's just a really clever kind of over the top idea of showing like people really, really love the pink Starburst so much that they're willing to lock them up. It also reminds me a few years ago, I think it was Ben and Jerry's ice cream had came out with it was a lock for the pints so that nobody would steal your ice cream, which is a similar idea. Like just, and it's showing like, the idea that these things are coveted. People want this stuff. They want it so much that they're willing to try to steal it from you, and you have to like keep it away from them. So it builds that idea up, which is fun.
Yeah, totally. I definitely, regarding the Ben and Jerry's lock, I could use that in my house with the way they get
Yeah,
after
for
the ice
sure.
cream here, particularly that brand. Yeah, I love this too. If when you come up with something like this, like it's going to generate like media coverage, right? Like just like because it's such a unique idea and it's such a kind of out there thing. I think it's the kind of thing that people are going to be willing to, and by media I mean social media and traditional media, right? Like people are going to, like, when they see this, they're going to be like, oh, that's weird and kind of cool, and share it just as like a, oh, that's strange. Did you see this? Or that's unique. So I think it's if for nothing else, it's just such a conversation piece, right? Like obviously it piqued your attention and we're chatting about it now because it's just something that you don't see it every day, and that uniqueness tied in with with the fact that it's actually kind of working for what that particular product is, right? It's something valuable, something everybody wants. Like it builds that and it works all together, and I think you have a win.
Yeah, and then another thing to mention is that yes, they didn't make that many of them, but if you deploy it smartly on social media and kind of release this idea, you don't need to make a lot
Yeah.
because it's going to get that word of mouth, that buzz going, and the people that do have it are sure to share it. So it's going to like speak more volumes than if you just like kind of thrown a bunch of, I don't know, like keychains at people.
Right.
It's like you're creating something unique and custom and with a specific purpose, telling a specific story. So you don't need to mass produce it.
Hmm. Was it? Do you happen to know? Is it sent to like influencer? Like who did they target this to? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I think it was more like you could sign up for. I think they might have partnered with like a self-care kind of influencer to like
Okay.
market this, and I
Yeah.
think it was like a limited edition thing that you could, like a contest you would sign up
Oh,
for and
got it. Like
hopefully
sign up for.
win.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I wish I would have known.
yeah, right. I need one of these.
Yeah.
All right, and so our next one is this custom Amazon backpack.
All right. So this is a little different than some of the other case studies that we're discussing, in that it was more internally focused. But since it's Amazon, it happened on such a large scale. And brands don't get bigger than Amazon, of course. So like, thought it was interesting to bring up. Um, so this involves a distributor, Hitex or Hitex Marketing down in Florida, did this for Amazon. Basically, they created a custom backpack that looks identical, as you could see if you're watching this on video, to like an Amazon delivery box. All
Yeah, down
right.
to the smile and the tape, the UPC, just everything.
Everything, yeah, everything about the piece was custom. It was made to resemble the delivery box. It featured a special fabric. It had that, as you said, Teresa, that realistic Amazon tape style decoration kind of running down the center. Um, and the idea with this was that it was actually an HR department that was focused on certain Latin American countries where excuse me, where Amazon has operations, and they really wanted to build the rapport with it was, I think, more than 10,000 employees that were scattered across Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, and Mexico. So yeah, you get different countries. So Latin America is not a single unit. There's all cultural distinctness to each country. So you really had to come up with something that could work cross borders, something that would have Amazon branding on it and that be unique and that people would actually want to use. And they really feel like they kind of hit the ball out of the park with this. The reaction from employees was they loved it. They felt like they got like this really unique, really special gift that was, different than anything they'd received in the past. The backpack even had a QR code on it, so that when you scanned it, you would go to a website, like an HR related website, and there's more information there. So it was just a way of creating another bridge of communication between the HR folks and the people they were trying to reach, who's the employees. um the backstory on it's pretty interesting, how they got it, or how high tech's marketing. They created a whole bunch of products like this, all themed around this idea of like Amazon products or Amazon services. And ultimately was the backpack that they went with, because they felt that that would have a lot of, utilitarian purpose, for the employees taking stuff to and from work and wherever else they might be going. But also because it does travel so much and it's seen on the outside so much, it really becomes, it's a cliche, but like that walking billboard for the company and everything. So it was such a win, in fact, that this was done as a holiday gift, a few years back, that 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 particular HR client within Amazon came back again to the distributor to do another campaign in the subsequent couple years, and also introduced them to other buyers within that Amazon framework. So now they've that distributor has branched out to doing all kinds of solutions for Amazon. And so it was just a huge win, a creative project, and one that, even though it was internally focused, really built the brand beyond just the Amazon family.
Yeah, so they were thinking outside the box, but they
No,
ended
but
up back in the box, I
yeah,
guess.
yes, very good, very good.
Would you use this backpack if someone gave it to you?
So I would, just because I like the unique factor of it, like it's quirky and weird. And I know there's some who'd say, oh yeah, it's a great idea, but it's gonna sit in the closet. From what I heard from the distributor, and was I there on the ground in Mexico confirming this? No, I was not. But like, employees are using it and they do like it, because there's a sense of pride of being associated with a big company like Amazon. So it's like, I work there. That's cool. Like I'm
Mhm.
doing well. So take that for what it's worth, so I do think that it is getting actual practical use
Yeah.
too.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a very bold style to just mimic the box like that, but it actually reminds me of certain like designer things that you would see on the runway. They do things like that where they, you know, especially for like purses and bags and stuff like that. So I actually think that it has kind of that higher end, like designer kind of look. A little wacky maybe, but I could see people, wearing this as like a fashion thing too.
Yeah, totally. And again, I think like there's just the novelty. It's not like it's so much of a novelty factor in the sense that it's just like quote weird, where
Mhm.
people are gonna be like, oh, that's really unique, but I'm never gonna actually like wear that. It's like enough to where it's creative and outside the box, but it's not so much over the top that you'd be like feel like awkward using it, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, for sure. For sure. All right. So this one is from the Canadian company Tim Hortons. They put out a line of merch for Coffee Day, which was not too long ago, maybe a month or so ago. But it was like a whole line of stuff around the idea of Tim's Run Club, because the idea. I mean, for us it would be a Dunkin's Run, right? But this
Hmm.
Canada, I was going to call
Hmm.
it Canada.
Canadian.
Canada is different than us, and they go on Tim's runs. So it's kind of athletic wear, like as if you were going for a run, but you're going for a run to go get your coffee and
Right.
Timbits.
Right.
Um, but the thing that I thought was really clever about this is they have a premium windbreaker, which included a dedicated breakfast sandwich pouch, which I think was like insulated, so it would keep your breakfast sandwich warm. And then the left elbow had padding on it, so you have added comfort when you're grabbing your order through the drive-through.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, I got
So
it.
yeah, so I thought like it just and it did, I mean, like you can see that. I think you can see that with windbreaker if you're watching this. It doesn't look weird. Like you wouldn't know like, oh, there's a insulated jacket pocket. It just looks like a
Yeah, no.
windbreaker.
Yeah,
But
no.
knowing it has those extra kind of silly features, I think makes it really fun and really leans into the idea of going for your coffee at Tim Hortons in the morning.
Yeah,
So I thought it was cool.
I love I didn't know that about the elbow support that's fantastic. That's such a unique way to like kind of bring that out and kind of tie into what they're doing, which is you're going on that run for coffee. You know, I love that. And I actually think the windbreaker looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it does have the whole like thing with the slides and the hats and pants and everything. It has that really cool like, you know, workout wear, but like cool workout wear. You could wear
Yeah.
it, it transitions for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you could be hanging out in that for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think we've seen in other companies that have done things with like was it uh Red Lobster that had like the pouch for like the
Yes.
biscuits?
I was even gonna mention this a little. I don't think we have slides on it, but I was gonna mention it. That it was a couple of Christmases ago. Red Lobster did a sweater that had a pouch, particularly for keeping your biscuits in, because everybody loves those biscuits. And the pattern, it was done in like a holiday pattern sweater, but what they had on it was what the heck was it? It was like shrimp, and it was the biscuits themselves, and it was like snowflakes and lobsters and stuff like that, but all done in holiday colors and a holiday pattern with that little biscuit pouch, which was cute and fun, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it's those things I don't know if anyone would actually use it for that purpose, but just the idea of it is such social media bait, and it's
Yes.
just it's a clever thing that people like you said, that was a few years ago. I still think about it. I still
Yeah.
remember it. So
Yeah.
it definitely did its job.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I remember when it came out, it got like all like you know, all pop culture sites that focus on like merch and stuff like that were all covering it, like going bonkers for it. And it was getting so much tread because of yeah, because it was unique. And people are like, that's a great idea, you know?
Yeah. So great that I guess Tim Hortons copied them a few years later.
Yeah. Yeah, way to
Put their own
go.
spin on it though. They went a little step further, but
And the elbow thing is all them.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, now we have another one. This is Iams. I guess they're Strong Dogs Frisbees. What is this, Chris?
Yeah, so we said frisbee, so you know that it is a frisbee. When you first look at this though, and if you're watching on the video, it really does look like a weight, right? It looks like a weight
Mhm.
you'd do curls with or whatever or whatever. But in fact, it's a frisbee. And the idea behind this was, you know, the dog food brand. They wanted to show that their food makes your dog stronger and healthier and everything like that. So they came up with it's of course it's just a frisbee. It's light. Or what are we supposed to call it? The non-brand, a
Oh, I'm
flying
sorry. A
disc,
flying disc.
a
I'm sorry.
flying disc.
I did a fail. I put
Yeah,
frisbees on there. I probably
yeah.
wasn't supposed to.
So for everybody like us who calls it frisbee, we'll also call it flying disc. But anyway, the flying discs, um, it's lightweight the way you'd expect that particular product to be. Um, but it has the appearance of a weight. So it really was like in a very simple yet effective way, hammering home that your dog's going to be strong. Look what it could carry if you know you eat our particular dog food. And this one was not actually domestic, as I understand it. I didn't write about this one. I found it online. Um, it happened in Australia, and at least one of the ways that it was distributed was they were just going to dog parks and like giving these out to people, which that's like ultimate because it's free. It's a fun little cool product. You're taking it right to people where they could use it with one of the most beloved things in their lives, which is their dog, you know. And to me that's like as grassroots marketing as it gets, done in a really creative, simple, and relatively inexpensive way. I mean, it's not a super duper expensive product to produce,
Mhm.
you know, but yet it's creative and speaks to your market perfectly.
Yeah, and I love the idea of just kind of going to where people are and meeting them and giving them the gift as they would be able to use it. It reminds me of this is a story that I tell a lot because I just thought it was so cool. A few years ago, a new Wawa opened up nearby ASI's main office, and I was with some people. We happened to be having a picnic outside, like on the lawn, and someone from Wawa came up and just gave us each like branded insulated lunch boxes filled with like coupons and like a coffee mug and all kinds of stuff like that. And I think about it all the time. And I mean, I already loved Wawa, but that definitely like shot that love like through the roof. So, you know, why don't you don't have to wait for people to come to you. Like you can figure out like creative ways to hand out the merch to people, and it might have more of an impact that way.
Yeah, I think so for sure. If you could, if there's, it's not always feasible, of course, but if you can have that in-person personal touch in a setting where people are actually going to use the product that you're giving them, like how can you beat that?
Yeah, yeah. So I think those are the main things that I wanted us to show everyone today. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Any other like lessons or just really fun ones that you just have to mention before we end
I'll say
today?
I'll say a fun one real quick. There was similar. This was a holiday season a year or two back. I forget when. Campbell's Chunky, the soup brand, they did a dad hat that came with a spork, and the hat had like a holder for their Campbell's Chunky branded spork on the side.
Mhm.
And I thought it was so clever because like again, if people are gonna really wear it a ton, probably not, but it got like a ton of media coverage, again, social and traditional, because it was so unique and it spoke particularly to how that brand Campbell's Chunky kind of frames themselves. It's like a soup that eats like a stew, so you kind of need the spork to
Mhm.
get in there with all those chunky bits. So I liked the creativity of that. I liked the way that it worked for the brand, and I've always just remembered that as being kind of a fun, like little holiday thing. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah, my other one actually, I wrote about it a couple years ago. It's another holiday one. It was, I believe, Sam Adams had a mitten that had like it was like a mitten koozie or can cooler, sorry,
Mhm.
that you would actually, put on, and it was like a beautiful knit like mitten with like the Sam Adams logo, and you would put your beer in it, and then you could like be outside in the winter and like drink your beer. It would be cold, but your hand would be warm.
Yeah.
And the reason I remember it is because I told my dad about it, and he was like, "You need to get me that for Christmas." And so, and so I did. I did. I actually won Christmas that year because at first it was sold out, but I was able to put my name on a waiting list, and I was able to get him that Sam Adams beer mitten.
Oh my gosh, how fantastic is that? Yeah, see it like maybe that's one of the lessons we've certainly come across today is that practicality works too.
Mhm.
Like you could be creative and fun, but if it's practical, done in a unique way, that like the frisbee slash flying discs like that, like what you just mentioned, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I do like to bring that story up because it really does show that like um, clever branded merch, clever promotional products, things that are useful. People want them. People like them.
Hmm.
Like he wanted me to get that for him, and I did. So
Win-win for Sam Adams.
yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Teresa Hegel, and this is Promo Insiders.